And thank you very much. Right, we'll go on to, so we are moving the drought management plan forward. Watercare staff members have been sitting here patiently all day, so thank you for that. I know they've been working on their computers as well, but they need to get back to the office, so we'll just move the next item quickly. Yeah. And we have, oh, sorry, is Andrew, it's just Andrew, who's not from Watercare, he's from our council department. And then we have Shane, who is from Watercare. Cool. Thank you. If you just want to introduce yourselves, and I'm happy to move, and Councillor Turner might want a second. Do you want to second this one? Councillor Turner. Cool, thank you.
Thanks, I'm Andrew Miller in the Natural Environment Strategy part of Policy Department. And
Shane Sullivan, the Water Resources Manager from Watercare.
so this item relates to Watercare's drought management plan. Watercare have an existing drought management plan. They have a mandate from their governing body to update it every 2 years. The current one was brought to the committee for endorsement in 2023. This draft one, various parts of the council were involved. Watercare sought our input into it. The Healthy Waters team, emergency management people, compliance people, the team I'm in, and bylaws team had an input into it. If there was a need to impose water use restrictions under the plan, Watercare would come and seek the mandate to do that. Under the bylaw, Watercare can't impose the restrictions, only the council can. So I'll hand it over to Shane to run you through the plan.
Thanks, Andrew. So essentially, as Andrew mentioned, we review the drought management plan every 2 years or after drought incidents. So we had a drought incident team stood up during summer 24-25 when we entered the drought preparedness phase. So those two coincided together, hence the review. Strategically, there has been no change to the plan. This is how we operate and how we respond to the drought. So the purpose of the plan, it really boils down to that last sentence in the slide there, improving Auckland's resilience and helping maintain a reliable water supply during droughts. It really is a tool for Watercare, Auckland Council and Aucklanders to use during drought. So implementation, so the drought management plan has been sort of stripped back, put into an operational document. It's turned into a 5-phase action plan. Those 5 phases are outlined there in the arrows. And as Andrew mentioned, Watercare comes to Auckland Council to approve restrictions under the bylaw when needed. In terms of the trigger levels, they have not changed since the previous update in 2023. The drought preparedness band in the light blue was added, was formerly voluntary savings. We've changed the name of that. That was introduced in 2023 at the request of Councillor Hills. It's worth noting that there is also an internal band above that within Watercare, so within the Water Resources Management team. We monitor a level roughly 12% above that drought preparedness band where we start to ramp things up. It doesn't mean we wait until that trigger is hit. We are constantly looking at the situation and forecasts for the year ahead. In terms of the changes that have been made, I mentioned stripping out the front half of the document, turning it into an operational document. A lot of that information was around historical water supply and droughts, historical droughts. within the Auckland region. That's still an important document for us and is sitting in-house within Watercare and has been updated alongside the drought management plan. Clear roles and responsibilities. Some of the learnings from the last drought incident is just clearer communication lines between Auckland Council and Watercare and Auckland Emergency Management. One of the big things that has been introduced is Auckland Emergency Management will become the lead role at stage 4. When stage 4 is, if stage 4 is reached, which is extremely unlikely, it can be classed as infrastructure disruption. So, and it just allows emergency management to call on powers from central government as well. We have simplified the water restrictions. So initially, some old restrictions, odds and evens, have been removed. They didn't really curb demand. So we have removed those and gone for a simplified approach for both Aucklanders to understand and for Watercare and Council to communicate. Stronger governance arrangements, so more consistent decision making between Watercare and Council, and then enhanced coordination and communications between stakeholders, public communications and commercial customers as well. I thought I'd just touch on El Nino because it's on everyone's lips at the moment. So as you can see, these images have been pulled from an internal comms piece within council. So I just would really highlight the increased risk for dry spells and droughts. Doesn't mean it is going to happen this summer, but yes, there is that increased risk there, as you're aware. In terms of where we are at the moment, we're in the best possible position. Total system storage is currently sitting at 94%, and we've started already to increase our water take from the Waikato River, just accordingly and we will continue to do so accordingly when demand increases through spring and summer. We also have our summer campaign, which our comms teams run out around using water wisely, and that will continue once potentially 1st of December rolls over. Any questions?
Kia ora. Thank you so much. Very clear for those councillors who are new. This has been worked on twice pretty quite intensively. There was potentially a proposal a couple of years ago to change the triggers. We kept them the same. They're the same again now. And I guess the big kind of highlight is that if there is a change to water restrictions, it's not a surprise. We come back here as the decision maker, but this really allows Watercare to ready themselves, prepare, promote, do all those things kind of with a very clear mandate from us and working together on this. So it's nothing unusual, and I think the team have done a really good work on this to kind of narrow the focus, but also have that extra planning for El Nino, which is looking pretty scary from the media articles, but let's just hope it's not as scary as they're saying it is. Deputy Mayor has a question.
Yes, thanks. Very easy to support. But can you just give me an example if something happened and we weren't meeting, like over January or something, how quickly would this be put in front of elected members, bearing in mind we don't have the meeting adjournments and stuff like that? How would that work?
So it would be so the drought preparedness. So that's only voluntary savings, essentially, for Aucklanders. Restrictions won't start until stage 1. So there's roughly 16%, which is roughly through a high demand period would be 8 weeks lead time before we knew restrictions were needed, and the comms would immediately start as soon as we stood up the drought incident team as well.
Yeah, so we'd ensure for some reason it would be the last meeting of the year or the first meeting of the year, and that would cover that window. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Member Karen Wilson.
Thank you. I went immediately to the MIS, namely the Māori Impact Statement, and I was just trying to work my way through what was intending to say in terms of what this update was. And so I'll make sure I go slowly so you're understanding. It's telling me what my role is as haukura, so I'm easily able to access information. It's telling me also that an important issue of significance for mana whenua relates to the allocation from Waikato. Yeah. So I wasn't sure whether that was how that fitted into Māori impact statement and why you didn't seek a view, because it's just an update and it's operational and yet it's coming here. Can you untangle those aspects for me? Because it appears in a Māori impact statement, which is clearly what we have interest in.
Yes, so I wrote the agenda item, and so it reflects the strategy. So I read the strategy and interpret it in terms of how this would impact on that. It says that there is an interest in water security, and this supports water security. That's what's reflected in the report. And there is a sort of a desire to reduce demand on the Waikato, and in this sense, this strategy is, the demand management plan is a tool to manage demand. There was another item for Matawaka. It wasn't particularly related to this, but yeah, this doesn't change any water sources. It doesn't change the triggers. It's very much an operational plan. It's just seeking endorsement so the council is aware of it in a governance role. So that hopefully explains it.
It doesn't, I guess. So it's considered an operational role as it relates to having a kōrero with mana whenua potentially, but it comes to a governance table. I guess and haukura has a part to play. So I'm wondering if it's considered an operational and yet it's not considered sufficient that mana whenua need to at least get a heads up. But haukura can. I'm just not understanding why it would not. I've never, to be honest with you, I've not seen an MIS that says we don't think that you should have an opportunity because it's just an update. Don't worry about it, it's operational. And yet most, if not all, the papers that come here, especially in the MIS space, acknowledge they're here because there should be some consideration around mana whenua and or mātāwaka views. So I don't know if that's going to help any, but it would help my mind as to why it's appearing in the manner that it's appearing.
Well, it's coming before the committee just to seek endorsement as a governance thing in terms of if there was a need to impose restrictions, then they would need to seek the council's permission, or the council has to actually impose the restrictions and then Watercare can carry them out. So that's why it's come here. It hasn't come for approval, it's just come from endorsement. There is already an existing plan and the levels haven't changed. The supply system hasn't changed. Watercare runs its operations from day to day, all of the time, every day. So it's really not a deviation from that at all. It's more of a process of ensuring that all the people in the council knows who their roles and responsibilities. If there was a need to impose restrictions, there would need to be delegated authority to do that and to give warrants to the Watercare staff. If you try and do that as you're in a situation where there might be a drought, it's better to have a plan that's preordained just so that people know what their roles and responsibilities are. It's really no more than that.
I'm almost gobsmacked that I refuse to let this. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that in the MIS, you've indicated there, as in terms of impact on Māori, which is what's called a Māori impact statement, that there is a concern from mana whenua that is listed as a significant concern that this update or otherwise may have some relevance to them in terms of a significant concern, even though it's an updated strategy document. That's that's really why I'm not understanding that someone's determining whether or not there should be an ability, even though you've written in your MIS that it's got significant impact. How do you work that through and not say, well, it really isn't because it's operational, when you're here and I'm sitting here too?
I don't think it says that there will be a significant impact. What it says is that there's a document that says there's issues of significance, and it reflects in terms of what those are, how this is reflected.
Okay, just one more. The notion of MIS I think is a good idea, specifically for water care, to be honest with you, because water care demonstrates or attempts to demonstrate on every occasion the need to have a strong relationship with mana whenua. Then we get across here, and you've indicated in an MIS that mana whenua have significant concerns around this, but can't for whatever reason. There's a little bit of a mismatch between what you're professing as water care around the relationship and the significance of mana whenua and what you're attempting to do in terms of procedurally, and then coming in front of this committee, which has haukura there. So I'm like most, I don't want to argue the toss, I just know what I know in terms of my role here as haukura and also as mana whenua, and how to use these documents, specifically the MIS, to ensure that any impact is addressed, whether it's an update or anything else, because that's why it's come here as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with Member Wilson, I think there's probably a step, and I, to be honest, should have noticed it myself. I think there probably was an opportunity to at least test with the Haukura Secretariat and potentially iwi chairs if there was time, just on acknowledge we're not changing the direction of the plan, we're not updating. It's not a full kind of update to a strategy, but I think we probably could have, or Watercare could have, gone that step before coming here. I understand we also didn't go to the local boards because there's not really a change, so I understand, but I think when we do have the concerns coming from Member Wilson, I think it probably would have been better if I had noticed as well, and we could have just done that extra step and waited maybe one more month. But I think you've probably heard that, and for next time, even if they are just revised or kind of locking in the same direction, it's probably worth still doing that. So there's the question back and forth: are we sure we shouldn't be changing, etc. Give the opportunities rather than acknowledging it. Because the significance is nothing changing, but technically there may have been a wish to change or put stronger restrictions or something, but we haven't given that opportunity. So, is that, I won't put words in your mouth, but okay. Thank you, Member Wilson. Yeah, it's just, I understand why, because it's not, we weren't consulting, we weren't changing, it's sort of just procedural, but I think also for next time, something like this, we could do that extra step if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Just from an operational point of view, we were looking at the metropolitan area as a whole. That's sort of why. But if there's a gap there, we'd gladly accept the feedback.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? No. I'll just get you to both step back from the table. Thank you. Right, thank you both, and thank you for work on this, and hopefully we will not have to have it come back for to change our water restrictions, but I think we do need to acknowledge the work Aucklanders have done. I do remember before the drought in 2020, we hit 568 million litres in one day as a city, and then we went into drought. It wasn't because we were using too much water, but we had the driest year ever. That could happen again, but thankfully Aucklanders are using around 440 million litres, and that's with quite a lot of growth in our population at the same time. So people are working hard, commercial and business are also doing the same. We need to do better as a council, as the largest water user as well. So we are buffered by the fact we've got full dams, but that won't last forever, so we do need to continue to work on that, but we've got a really good structure in place if we need to move towards restrictions if we get dry. So I'll take what Member Wilson has said on board, and we'll work with the water care team for similar operational plans as well in the future. All those in favour? Any opposed? Cool, thank you. That's passed. We will go now to our Manukau